Alright, today we're going to be looking at a generator, probably the ugliest generator you'll see on YouTube. Pretty bad shape cosmetically, guys. Look at this. Found this thing at a garage sale, paid probably too much for it. That wasn't that much. I could probably get what I paid out of it, actually. But this is an old school Honda EM500. Let me show you why I bought it. So check this out. I literally walked up to the table this was sitting on. I had some, there was an appliance there, like a little sander, and I plugged it in, AC, flipped the little switch to AC, and watch this. You turn this thing on. I didn't know anything about this. I just turn it on. It says on, off. So I turned it on. It had a little gas in it. First pull, it fired right up. Fairly quiet. Maybe not quite as quiet as the EU2000 that we have, the newer Honda, but it works great. It works great. I was able to plug an appliance in there, a little sander, and it turned it right on. And then I've tested the voltage on the DC side. It has a lockout, so you can only use one side or the other. You have to unplug it and switch it out. So this is the DC cables right here. You can plug it and charge it. It's made for automotive batteries. So if your battery's dead, you can throw this on there, and it puts out about 8 amps. 8 amps. Then you have 2 circuit breakers right here, and then this isn't a throttle. This is an on and off switch, and it just goes to a Petcock back here. I'm not going to run it too much because I've already kind of opened this thing up and looked at the insides, but I'm going to show you a little bit of what we got going on here, and then I already have some parts on order, and I think we can make this a usable machine. So my plan with this, why would I get some ugly thing? Well, I've kind of fallen in love with it, so I might actually kind of restore this and paint it all up. This is all metal, so you can just repaint it. I just want to be able to run lights at the cabin, so we have a solar panel system, but let's say we go up there in the winter and you want to top up the batteries or something goes wrong, and you don't want to use the solar panel system or whatever, you want to charge up some stuff. So instead of bringing our expensive one up there, what I'm going to probably do is just leave this up there. If somebody steals it, we're only out, just over $100. It shouldn't be a big deal. It's really nice when we go up there. If in the wintertime we can't get the car up there sometimes, so we'll just have a generator up there, at the cabin. And that should be kind of a fun thing. And then plus, if we're up there and we need to charge up batteries, it's always reassuring to have a way to charge up your car batteries, especially in cold weather. Sometimes they just kind of give out on you. So these things will charge up car batteries really easily. All right, so I'd be lying if I said I haven't already opened this thing up a little bit, taking a look at some stuff. But let me pop this open. You guys remember a couple of months back when I asked the audience of this channel what their favorite YouTube channels were, and you guys said Musty One. There are several of you who said Musty One. Never heard of Musty One before. Man, you guys are a bad influence. I'm completely hooked on Musty One's channel. He's great. Just breathing new life into old rusty engines and unique things. And I think I understand some of that because I like these old engines and these old I like to see kind of the history of stuff and how things started. I have the the EU series one generator, but this is the predecessor. Okay, so this comes off. I've already kind of sprayed this out a little bit with I use electrical cleaner because there's a lot of electrical parts in here, and even though I kind of stay away from this was a little bit covered in grime and kind of this soot, oil, something, dirt, and it actually cleans off. I mean, look at that. I mean, it's fairly clean. I can go over there maybe with some soap and water and really get this thing cleaned out, but the insides of this thing aren't too bad. There's a little surface rust on this, on the electrical side of it, the actual generator. And you can see right here, there's the air filter. I didn't run it too long because I pulled this air filter out. Look at this. And it is covered in oil. They did oil this thing. I mean, I don't know what, it looks just like motor oil, but it's like flaking in a way. And I didn't want to run that in the engine and just get it sucked into the carburetor, because it's running so good, and if I start messing with it, it's just going to fall off and disintegrate in there. So what do we have here? There is one problem that I've noticed. Let me get you in a little closer here. This Petcock right here, this is the little lever when you turn it on to off. It's like a motorcycle style, which is probably adapted from an old motorcycle. It's labeled, or you know, an old generator. Who knows what this came off of? I bet there's a lot of parts sharing on these old beasts. But there's two screws under here that hook to the bottom of the tank. There's a set of O-rings in there, and there's a little bit, just a tiny bit of leaking going on. I mean, there's just a little bit of fuel on the fiber washers on there. When I first got it, it was really kind of dripping out of there. Put gas in it, it was just kind of dripping out of one of them. I flipped them over. Actually, I'd already had this tank off, truth be told. Flipped them over and put it back on there, and it cut it down almost to nothing, but it's still kind of just damp on like both of them. Other than that, it's not leaking around the top, so the O-rings are fine. I actually replaced a couple of the O-rings in there because I had some. So I'm gonna have to change that. I have a couple of those on order. Believe it or not, you can still buy those. Those are 6mm. They call them 6mm fiber washers or something. And let's look in there. And so they're 6mm fiber washers, and they still sell them, made by Honda. Everybody said, you know, a lot of guys with old motorcycles have the same problem. They kind of leak because those screws go right into the tank, and there's nowhere. It's just gravity, and it just drops the fuel right out of there. So they have to seal pretty good, and they have to be soft enough. They just get brittle. Got a couple of those on order. They were like $1 a piece or something. Told you guys, musty one, man. Some crispy stuff going on here. There. So those will be replaced. That'll be, you know, $1 or $2, whatever, really cheap. Then of course I have the air filter right there. That's like $5. I was able to find one stock Honda part. And then what else did I get? Fiber washers, and that's about it for parts, guys. If that seals up the leak right there, then that's the only thing really problem I see. I got to change the oil in it, which is no big deal. So the only thing I haven't been able to locate on this thing so far is there's a little fuel filter and level indicator, which is common to a lot of these Hondas, and it's got this rubberized gasket, which you used to be able to buy. It was like $1.80. It was really cheap, but they discontinued this, and so I have to figure out a solution for this. Otherwise, it's not gonna really seal up on this tank, on this thing. And I mean, obviously, you don't need to use the screen. I could probably, you know, just drape the screen in there and then maybe put a seal on here. Just find a gasket. That might be what I'll have to do. It's not gonna be perfect, but like I said, the inside of everything is pretty clean. It's just the outside, the surface rust is really bad on this thing. So that clicks on there. Everything seems to work. Yeah, I mean, the oil right here, let's take a look. Obviously, it's probably a little bit, I mean, who knows? Let's see what we can do. Take a look here. You know, well, you can tell right here, it's pretty gooky. It's not, you know, doesn't look too bad. The tank looks clear, nice and clean. O-ring on that looks pretty good. Quite a bit of rust, you know. You could probably clean this side up pretty good. It's actually not that bad. But the inside doesn't have a whole lot of anything. You're just out in a barn, you know, just being used. Here's your throttle. Apparently what you do is you start these up and then you try to get 60 hertz out of it. And so if you're not getting 60 hertz, you just turn this a little bit. It's not to slow it down and speed it up. It's just to kind of fine tune it so that it locks into the right frequency. See how bad off we are. A little bit sweaty under there, huh? But not too bad. Some surface rust on the muffler. These things are they're just tanks, you know. And you're supposed to be able to pull this piece off. There's a spark arrestor in there, so I should probably do that at some point. I don't really want to do it right now because you actually have to adjust. There's this right here, this really little deal right here is a dissimilar metal choke. So it's an auto choke on this thing, which seems to be working okay. I haven't tried it in cold weather, of course, but you have to set this. And apparently, I think when you pull this off, you have to reset everything and check your. See, there's a little bit of play right there, but this could easily be painted though. I actually was able to pull the sticker off of it, so I might be able to reinstall that sticker. So there's this cover, and that floats the tank, is just floating on there, right? So you can't pull up on that; it'll just rip it off of there. So we'll go over here and do this side real quick. And I'll show you what I gotta actually replace here. Okay, so that's off. Now we gotta we'll unhook the vent or breather right here. And let's see, we're off. Let's make sure we're off. So it's off now. Now I gotta unhook this, carefully unhook this guy right here. That's off. And then we'll pull the fuel line off. And it'll probably leak a little bit of fuel, but obviously the valve does work. Oh, yeah, we got a lot coming out there, huh? Oh, man, I didn't realize. Okay, I guess I had it on. That's not good. Well, that'll clean off the motor really. Wow, it does really clean that up, doesn't it? Look at that. Okay, so the gas tank it's that easy to take out, guys. So we have to just kind of replace some of these things. Yeah, there's a little bit of, see those bolts right there? There's some fiber washers under there. I got those on order. So if that's all it is, it's going to be super easy to clean up. And got gas everywhere now, don't I? Oh, we'll just clean that all up. That looks really nice in there now. It's like a brand new 1982 made generator, huh? What do you think? They're pretty cool little units though. Look at that. Pretty nice. Look at that rust. It's just surface rust. The inside looks pretty good. Alright, so I was also going to show you this airbox here that I already had off of here. Just pull that off. So that's where the foam filter obviously goes in. But I didn't want it to suck all that junk in there. Alright, so what do we do to take this off? What you got to do to get in here, let's look at it from this side. You got to kind of keep rotating this around. So you want to pull the spark plug wire, which I guess I should look at the spark plug, even though it seems to be working fine. Let's go ahead and pull the shroud off here, otherwise you won't be able to see the fuel line where it goes in. You see that? My hand covering it. Sorry about that. Here. Pull this little cover off. I got like a nice little, really clean cylinder head in there, huh? I'll put these bolts back in it. Like that. Now, still can't see that fuel line. The carburetor is right here, obviously. I could probably replace those little drain tubes. They're not really, they don't look actually all that bad, but you know, they're cheap. I might even have some laying around here for that. So what you got to do is take off this little plastic fan cover right here. I'll show you how to do that real quick. Let's get into that. What is that, an 8? so we'll need that. Okay, let's pop this off like that. See what we got in here, and you gotta kind of, looks like you got one under here too. Sneak out of there. Just holding this plastic shroud on there. Looks like it's got a washer. All the good stuff. And then they're underneath this tie down. Got one down here. Let's see if we can get this. All right. Let's pull this off of here real carefully. Oh yeah, there's another fuel line back there, like a breather hose. You can tell with all these noise reducing ports in there that they really were thinking about, you know, getting these things as quiet as possible from day one. Oop, there goes the seal. What happened? That came off. A little seal, a gasket thing. Gasket came off of there. There's also a rubber seal that goes on this. Which you gotta take off. I don't really want to replace that. Smells like fresh gas, doesn't it? You can't smell it. Okay, so we got the little fan shroud off. There's your fan. I can't tell if there's any oil leaking in there. I thought there was maybe, but I think it's just blowing around from the overfilling the oil filler and just blowing in there, because I don't see anything behind this. Of course, that carburetor is now loose. So fuel coming out of that little bit. Alright, so we can sneak that out of there. There's our fuel line with our little protective cover. So I don't know if I can do that with just a, I don't know if I can make that with a purely, I don't know if I can do that with a straight line. I think I can, but look, it's pretty kinked even there. Shouldn't be a big deal. I'll just keep this little cover and I'll go in and match that up. Little breather hose, looks like the same stuff pretty much. Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Let's get some extra length of that. And that's pretty much it. I mean, the carburetor is sitting on there. Let's take a look at the spark plug real quick. Haven't seen this quite yet. See what we got for a plug. Oh. That looks pretty good, actually. It's not fouled or anything. Could be replaced probably. It's had plenty of use and probably stock. Yeah, that's pretty good. Good deal. I'll have to put a new one of those in. I might even have one somewhere. Let's pop that thing in there. We'll be putting a new one of those in there at some point. So that's all I got for today. Pretty cool little engine. I'll see you guys on the next one.